relapse at about the 17th of December, best I can remember. Maybe it was a little before that. I think I was supposed to get out on the 17th. They send you home for a couple of dry runs over the weekend, see how you do. I had that relapse on the second weekend, and I was worse than I was when I first went in the hospital. I couldn't move the right leg at all. And that was devastating.
Hi. Today I'm going to be talking about Guillain-Barré syndrome, also known as GBS. This is an autoimmune disease where your immune system starts targeting your own myelin on your neurons. I interviewed my dad, Craig Woodard. It was about a week before my third birthday that he started having symptoms of Guillain-Barré syndrome and ended up in the hospital for 6 weeks.
Hi, my name is Craig Woodard. I'm here to talk about my experience with GBS, which I got in my early 30s. I believe it was the fall of 93, a little bit before Halloween. I started to notice some tingling in my fingers and toes, a lot like when your foot falls asleep. Didn't really know what was going on. But just to talk a little bit about it, what I came to find out, GBS is fairly rare. It affects about 15 out of a million. About 5% of those have a relapse, and I got it and had 2 relapses, so they don't really have a number for that. I know now it's related to an overactive immune system. Some of the people that get it have either had a vaccination or they have been sick, like with the flu. Some people, that's not the case. In my case, I hadn't been sick or a vaccination or anything like that. Some people have a fast onset. They can go to bed at night and wake up the next day and be paralyzed. Mine was a slow onset. It took about 3 weeks before I could walk. And basically what happens is your immune system starts to produce these antibodies. It falls into the autoimmune disease family. And these antibodies attack the myelin part of your nerve, which is a lot like the insulation around a wire. And wherever that happens, you lose all or part of that motor function or sensory function. I was married. I had 2 girls at the time, right around the ages of 3 and 6, and had been very healthy and was a very independent person, never really been sick. And I got this and ended up spending 6 weeks in the hospital.
Typically with Guillain-Barré syndrome, there is a predictable course. The first phase is more of like an acute progressive phase. This is where signs and symptoms start occurring. For some people, it may have a quicker onset. For other people, it may be a little bit longer, a few weeks. Then it starts to hit a plateau phase where some stabilization occurs, and then we start to see a recovery. This can be slow, but it is progressive in that you'll start to gain back motor function, sensory function, pain may decrease. So like dressing, bathing, eating, toileting, all of those you're able to do them for the most part, or just kind of what level of
Well, so when I initially got diagnosed, he told me I could just go home and see how I did. But he said, if you ever feel like you're having trouble breathing, you need to get down to the emergency room. It was probably more anxiety than anything, but I felt like that on Wednesday night. I ended up at the University of Utah Hospital that night. I could not walk at that point. I had a lot of difficulties. I could not urinate or have a bowel movement on my own. When things got really bad, I had problems speaking because my lips were numb. I couldn't close my eyes all the way when I would sleep. I went through periods where I had more pain than I could bear. I lived on Demerol for 3 days at one point. I had a relapse in there, which was very devastating psychologically. I pretty much had to have help with just about everything.
Mm.
And that was difficult for me because I was a very independent person. And so yeah, it was rough. It affected one of the nerves in my left eye, so I would see cross-eyed. You know, when your nervous system blacks out, it pretty much affects everything.
Yeah.
I would even go so far as to say there were times that, you know, I would question what I was hearing, whether it was real or not. It was like being in the casino with bells and whistles and lights and everything going off. I couldn't just lay there and relax like I normally could. It's the best way I can describe it. It's kind of hard to describe. The other thing I would say about it is literally until I really started to come back and recover, it was like being in someone else's body. I'm a very independent person, and it was hard not to be there. And it was hard to rely on other people to do those things for my family. But I'm so grateful that I had those wonderful people in my life who would step up to the plate and help to fill those roles with my family.
They say the holy water's watered down, and this town's lost its faith. Our colors will fade eventually. So if our time is running out, day after day, we'll make the mundane a masterpiece.